Hey everyone, welcome back to the vlog. Today, the new Call of Duty is out, and I'll be quite honest that I've been a huge fan of this game for quite a long time. It's kind of like my secret sort of hobby. Played far too much of it during lockdown, and I really like the music from it. And one of my dreams, I suppose, as a composer would be to score for one of these games at some point. So I've done my own version of what I would maybe do if I was asked to write the theme or some music for the Call of Duty game. It's a total work in progress just now. It's nowhere near finished at all, but I'm going to give you a brief rundown of where I'm at with it and some things that I've done in this piece. This is also a template that I'm using from Simon Passmore, who I would recommend checking out. This is like the fourth piece I've written with it. It's a really great template. You can check out his YouTube channel, which I'm going to leave a link to in the bottom. So I'm just going to play this where it is just now and chat you through a few things which are going on. So here is the beginning of this Call of Duty piece. So this part I still need to work on a little bit. It's not quite there. It actually kind of loses its energy a little bit there. So I need to work on that part here. Then this next part, a big chordal kind of epic sort of end. I'm not totally sure if this is going to stay. Yeah, so I'm not totally sure if this is going to go in there. I did have a structure for this piece, but I've totally broken it. I always like to plan these things, and then the plan's there to be broken, and I certainly broke it doing this piece. And now I have I need to really kind of work out how to get it going again. Anyway, I'm going to run through the elements that we've got on the go here. So let's start with textures. So I'm using Spitfire, Aperture, the stack, which I really enjoy using. I'm using a few instances of this. I'm using just the generic inbuilt ESM from Apple. What else have we got? We've got some retro synth, which I'm using here as well, just to add some kind of low stuff. I was using Solar from Spitfire, but I'm not using that anymore. Just decided I didn't need it. And what else have we got? And then we've got some basses up here as well. So in the basses, I'm using Kniff Audio, Nifonium, if that's how you say it, and this synth here. So this is kind of what the synths are kind of sounding like in the opening here. Of course, synths are such a huge part of Call of Duty music, giving that sort of industrial sort of sound. That's a sample of a siren, and an air raid siren in the background. So these textures here, So first off, we've got these kind of glitchy click percussion things on the go. Which are just kind of hanging about in the background, just adding that sort of sense of digital to everything. Aperture is doing this kind of low bass sound. And I'm using Shaperbox. Which I think is just an excellent tool, really excellent tool for this kind of music. Out of the box, a lot of the presets sound absolutely brilliant, and I'm just using it at these parts here. I'm also using Aperture to kind of hold, to kind of glue the string chords together. Just quite mono, just quite down the middle. Okay, strings. So I'm using BBC Symphony Orchestra Pro, but I'm about to buy Abbey Road Orchestra Violin 1s and pre-order the cellos. It's got to be done. The sounds are amazing. Of course, I love the BBC Symphony Orchestra Pro sounds, but I think it's going to be time to upgrade to this new library. From the demos that I've seen, it just looks like it's going to be the industry standard going forward, so it sounds absolutely incredible. Anyway, this is what the strings are doing in the kind of opening. Still need to automate this a little bit. It's a bit inhuman. And this is totally unmixed as well, I have to say. So you'll notice that I'm using these individual legato patches. These are really useful to actually split up the chords so that you get legato lines throughout. And it means you just get a kind of a much truer legato kind of sound. It's totally worthwhile. It takes a bit more time, but it's worth it for sure. I still need to go through and get rid of some of the kind of lumps that are there in the automation, but this is still very rough and ready and not completely sorted yet. So yeah, we've got the upper strings are doing mostly spiccato and staccato, this kind of material here. Sort of things on the go. Okay, now percussion. Okay, so I'm having a lot of fun with a couple of percussion libraries here. So first of all, we've got the Spitfire Audio Hans Zimmer. I'm using some low booms and some metals for them. And then I'm using Abbey Road Orchestra low percussion. So we've got the surdo and bass drum and a couple of other things. And then I'm also using East West, just some generic percussion from their Percussion Diamond. I've subscribed to East West for a long time, and you mostly use them for percussion, just because they've got a huge library of pretty high quality sounds. So the percussion is the thing which really drives everything along. I'm probably listening to it just now got too much percussion. It's a bit heavy, but in the opening we've got this kind of material here. That's a ratchet there holding it together. Yeah, and we've got two kind of finger cymbals left and right, just to kind of link everything together and add that kind of high brightness to everything. And later on it sounds like this. And then the climax of the piece has all the instruments performing. Add some bongos and conga to it. So you'll notice that actually I started with far too much percussion on the go here, and I sort of thinned it out and then saved this material for later. So the only time that we have all the percussion playing is right at the very end, and that's a really useful thing to do, so that the piece feels like it has somewhere to go, so that it's kind of a big development and a big change when you do come to this bigger sound. So with the horns, I've split them into 4 individual solo instruments, and again this is BBC SO Pro, and what I've done is I've given each individual horn its own slightly different microphone configuration, and this means that every time the horn plays, each horn sounds slightly different to the other one. It just means that each instrument kind of sounds a little bit more unique, so it's just slightly different. This one doesn't have the outrigger, that kind of thing. I want horn 1 to always be heard a little bit more, so I give it slightly more microphones. And actually I should move this up there. Yeah, so the horn 1 actually plays that. Yeah, so that's what the horns are up to. Other than that, the trombone's just kind of adding a little bit of colour. We've got some tuba adding some low end to the chords, but not much else really going on. I still need to sort out the delays so that everything starts on the grid properly. Then on the horns, this is what I'm putting on the horn channel. That's peaking a little bit. I need to sort that out. A little bit of warmth, a little bit of presence here, which is a little bit harsh, so I might take that out, and then a little bit of a kind of air band. Maybe that's a bit much. And then I'm also using Saturn just to add a little bit of saturation to certain frequencies. So in the mids, a little bit more warmth. In the kind of the mid-highs, a different type of saturation, so clean tape, and not quite as much. And then in the high end, I'm just boosting that again to give it a sense of brightness. Sometimes I do use fresh air on it as well. Let's see if this makes a difference. Maybe that'll help it cut through a little bit. So I need to sort that. That's peaking a little bit. I still really need to kind of sort out the overall structure of this. At the moment, I mean, the track is almost 3 minutes long. Ideally, this should be 2.5 minutes, so I need to be kind of brutal about what I get rid of. But let's just hear the ending that I've got. So obviously I need to neaten up the ending there. You can still hear some instruments kind of carrying on. Big shout out for this aperture sound. Probably one of my favourite instruments that Spitfire have ever made. That's the thanks but no thanks. And then I'm putting it through a little EQ, but other than that, it's just an amazing instrument, so do go check that out. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. That was a really quick look at this kind of Call of Duty style track, which I basically kind of wrote today. I'm going to go play the game now, and then see how someone much better has written the music, and then I'll try and copy them. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. See you next time.